Hi guys, welcome to the video, and today's video is all about the upper body and its role in sprinting speed, and it can really make or break your sprinting. And here's why. Even if you're injury-free, healthy athlete who's training away in your sport and sprinting away, whether you're a sprinter in athletics, you're going to have compensation patterns up and down your body. And what I mean by that is that you're going to have muscle overuse and muscle underuse. You're going to have muscles that are functioning well below their capabilities, and you're going to have muscles that are functioning and taking on the role of the underused muscles. And it's the way the body does to keep you performing throughout the day. So it will develop these compensation patterns to keep you vertical, keep you performing your tasks in your training, at least for a while anyway, before you get injured. But in my role as a be activated practitioner, it's incredible how these compensation patterns can become extreme. Because when I'm actually firstly establishing the compensation patterns of an athlete, I got them on the massage table, I perform muscle tests and actually to see where the compensation patterns are. And when I normally do a leg test, whether it be a quad test or anterior tibialis test, I get them to perform the muscle test. I get them to try and get them to hold it, and they fail that test. Now, if I get them to lift up their arm and get them to clench a fist on the contralateral side. So if I'm working on the left leg, I get them to lift the right arm off the ground. I get them to really tense it up. And at the same time, as they're doing that, if I get them to perform the muscle test again on the quad, they normally hold. And what's incredible is the fact the influence that has on the upper body. What that means is the fact that the hip muscles will not function without the upper body. And the upper body is actually taking on the hip muscles. The role of the hip muscles. Your hip muscles, your psoas, your quads are up here in your shoulders and in your arms. And that's how incredible it can be. Now, if you take that into sprinting, if you've been watching my videos before, you'll know that relaxation is a massive thing, massively important to sprinting speed, to performance in general. But if you've got a firing pattern where the upper body is taking on the role of the hips, you've got a firing pattern where the initial response by the body, the default pattern by the body, is to tense up the upper body, to tense up, tighten up here. As you can see throughout the quad would not function unless the upper body was tense up here. So what you have is a default pattern by the body to tense up here, totally counterproductive towards speed. Totally counterproductive towards relaxation. You're just not relaxed. And not only are you you're on your way to injury, but before that happens, you also got tightness up here, your lack of flexibility, but you've got lack of flexibility down here as well in your hips. And these hips aren't functioning. And once they're not functioning, they tighten up to protect themselves. You've got that going on, but also it doesn't allow the body to sprint freely, and it doesn't allow the body to create torsion. Doesn't allow the body to create elastic energy. Because what I'm talking about, when you're actually in the sprinting motion, the upper body, when you've got a nice relaxed upper body, is the arms, a good developed arm strength, and the arm pulls back, and the inner stride, the knee comes up. And what happens is that there's a buildup of energy, a torsion, a twisting motion here that's happening up in the shoulder girdle towards the obliques of the core and right down towards the glutes. There is a coordination up here that's disrupted if you've got tight upper body. So it should pull up like this. The arm should move freely up in this position to build up elastic energy. So when the leg comes down, the arm comes through in this position. But what happens is when you've got that pattern where your upper body is taking on the hips, you've got this tightness, and you're not going to be able to move freely in this position. And you're not able to build up that torsion. The more torsion, the better. But if there's more twisting, the better, because there's more elastic strength. You won't be able to build that up, which means that the stride length you're going to have is going to be shorter. You're going to have less stride frequency as well. And those are two components, main components of speed, that is just going to be handicapped. So you can see how this muscle pattern, this firing pattern in the body, can be actually really counterproductive. So in my be activated, I reduce this. So what I do is I establish where the compensation patterns are happening, and then I get the muscles, namely around the hips, to fire. So glutes, core, quads, hamstrings, get these muscles to fire to release the compensation, the workload of the upper body on here. So the body moves up here moves more freely, your posture's improved, your body, you're just going to remove more synergy. Your body's going to perform with more synergy. All the muscles are working together to create more flexibility, to create more strength, and your performance is going to go through the roof. Now, if you notice this, well, how do you notice it first in your training? So if you're a sprinter on the track, and your tendency has been noted by the coach or yourself is the fact that when you try to sprint at top speed, is that you tighten up. That's your go-to mechanism. You tighten up in the jaw and you tighten up in the shoulders. You're up in this position here. If you've noticed that in yourself, then maybe you have a compensation pattern there that's, as I've explained before, is counterproductive towards speed. And that is really hampering your speed. And needs to say is going to lead to injury as well. Any compensation pattern that builds up will build up till it ends in injury. So you need to disrupt that pattern and interrupt that pattern. Go and speak to a physio about that compensation pattern, or better still, go and speak to a be-activated practitioner near you as well. However, if you live near Taunton, Somerset, then I really recommend you booking a session with me, whether you're a sprinter, endurance runner, maybe you're a footballer or a rugby player who wants to work on their speed. I highly recommend you booking a muscle activation session with me. I'll leave my details below this video so you can get in contact with me, send me an email, and then we can organise a phone message to organise a session. So if you live near me, I highly recommend that. If you need more information, I highly recommend you go to my website, www.thegreatathletenexus.com. Go down to the bottom, scroll down, and you'll see some muscle tests that you can perform on yourself that will give you a great indication whether you need me. If you should be able to pass those muscle tests. You should be able to, if your body's working at an optimal level, you should be able to pass those muscle tests all the time. So go and try those muscle tests and then give me a call. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you could like the video, I really would appreciate it. If you could share it, I really would appreciate that more. And that just leaves me to say, enjoy the rest of the week.